Let's separate this into two parts, Kaustubh, and start with the Navi Mumbai airport. Do you believe, as the Prime Minister said today, that this will transform an entire region, including the Konkan belt? You now have an airport which is with a world-class infrastructure, but will it actually meet the needs, you believe, of an ever-expanding city like Mumbai?
Oh, absolutely. Today is a historic day, to say the least. As a Mumbaikar who was born in Dadan and raised in Andheri, I remember my father telling me in the 90s that there is an airport that is going to come, and we have waited for decades for the right leadership and the execution to come into place. And today is an absolute celebration. The airport is not just an infrastructure project. It's a force multiplier on the economy. I mean, imagine, Rajdeep, we had our first airport in Mumbai in the 50s, and then the T2 came in 2010, 2011, and now we have a terminal which will eventually service 9 million passengers. So if you add all the three together, we will be serving more than 150 million passengers annually. I mean, this is a remarkably large figure. So, in terms of the volume of the business and the trade, this is a golden era which has started, and I am so happy that being part of executing it and also seeing it today as a Mumbaiker. It's a truly emotional moment for me, and as a citizen, I think I am absolutely indebted to our leadership, both administrative and political, to the people of Mumbai who really have lived through hell while the execution of this project was going on, and it's time to celebrate now.
You're calling it a celebration. Smriti Kopikar, at the moment, I want to focus first on this new international airport. Do you believe it's a moment to celebrate that, as Kaustubh puts it, Mumbai desperately needed another airport hub? The country's commercial capital couldn't work through just the first two terminals that you had existingly. You needed a brand new airport. Would you say it's a cause for celebrations, or do you believe it will only benefit very few in a city of more than 25 million people if you include the outer Mumbai as well?
Thank you, Rajdeep. This issue goes well beyond the celebration of a new airport. I'm sure studies were done that showed that we needed a larger, newer airport, and it got built. So kudos to that. But to make it sound like because of that airport and one metro line, Mumbai has suddenly become this fantastic, great rising city, I think would be well off the mark for two or three reasons. And let me list them out. The first is that in the past few years, we've seen what is called a project led development of the city. It's not the city's development as a whole, but project led development. So you have project XYZ, you have project 1, 2, 3, and they benefit a certain class, a certain group of people, and it is marketed as if it benefits all of Mumbai. It doesn't. Number two, very clearly, when we say that there are these, multi-million, multi-crore infrastructure projects that Mumbai needed, sure. But why are we concentrating? Why have governments been focused and concentrating on these big ticket, marquee kind of projects? I want to place one simple fact. 54% of the fatalities in Mumbai in 2023 and 2024 were of pedestrians. Where is the pedestrian walking infrastructure? Why is that not part of the infrastructure development? Not just for the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Where is that? We don't have pavements to walk. People fall into ditches, children fall, get injured, are killed. You had a report that showed that 5 people died of falling off the trains. 2,500 people die in Mumbai every year because of railway trains and the way they are forced to travel in the trains. So where is that infrastructure upgrade? We're not seeing that. So that's the second. Number three, is there has been a very steady public fund and private gain in the way Mumbai's infrastructure has been planned and built in the past few years. And I'll give here the example of the coastal road, which is largely a public funded project. By the time it is completely done from one end of the city to the other, quite possible that the city would have spent something close to 50, 60,000 crores. Which part of the public in Mumbai uses it? How many of us really have cars and drive on the coastal road? Why doesn't some of this attention, resources, and planning go into boosting something like the BST bus service, on which 3.5 million Mumbaikars depend every single day? And this very government, under this very government, in the last 10 years, we have seen a very steady decline of the BST. That was the network that kept Mumbai going even through COVID. 100
Let
drivers and conductors lost their lives. So why are we
you've raised
celebrating one airport but ignoring pavements, BST, and everything else in between?
you've raised several points, and I think Kaustubh, because he's in charge of infrastructure, needs to respond. Kaustubh, is this a conscious plan that the government has made that, look, we are putting in place this large world-class airport, we are putting in place the metro infrastructure. Now you've got critics who are saying, what happens to BST, what happens to pavements, what happens to public funding for private gain with the coastal road? Is the government aware of this criticism? What is the government's larger strategy for Mumbai?
No, government is absolutely focused on driving an equitable, sense of governance, and every strata of society is being touched on. We have an increasing demand for aviation connectivity, and that is being served. We have an increasing demand for green mobility, and that is being served through the metros. We had a history of 11 kilometers in 11 years when we built the Warsaw to Ghatkopar metro. It's shameful statistics, to say the least. And in the last 4 years, between 14 and 19, we put into together 373 kilometers of metro network under process and construction. So metros are at some point in time, maybe by 2027, will almost parallel the carrying capacity of the suburban railway network. Suburban railway network carry about, I think, about 90 lakh people today. So metro will almost equally, share that load. And this is common Mumbaikars. I mean, I grew up traveling in a suburban,
So
and
will it shift
we
people?
use metro.
Will it
So
shift
the point is,
commuters from the old
yeah,
suburban rail network and
no,
buses?
I think,
Is the
it's
aim
a
that you will
behavioral change.
shift commuters from the old suburban trains and BST?
The idea basically is that metro has a very different purpose. It connects to the inters of the city, and suburban has a different purpose. So my sense is that both coexist and both are necessary. They serve the people of Mumbai, and Mumbai people care about it. We have numbers to say that the utilization has been significant. And when the ladies talked about the open spaces, I mean, recently we declared about 70 hectares of a road next to the coastal road. That's one part of the development. So there are government doesn't just focus on large infrastructure projects. Government is only not focused on a particular section of the society. I think that's a very narrow and a very pinpointed view of of government. When you govern, you have to have an equitable sense of governance, and each and every strata has to be touched. And I agree that there are issues related to the quality of best services that we have. I know there are issues related to the roads that we have, but these are things that need to be resolved. And my sense is that we have been able to solve complex problems like the projects we have delivered, whether it's Atal Setu, the underground metro, whether it's the coastal road. These problems are not as complicated. They are intertwined in the bureaucratic and the issues related to that. So my sense is that it is, I don't have a
Okay.
logical answer to say that why not, but I'm 100% certain, 100% certain, as a Mumbaikar and as somebody working in the government, that this particular issue will be taken and will be resolved once and for all, and to address every single strata or every single section of the society.